Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back to the Sneaker Source podcast. As always, you got your boy Sean Alonto. We got Rickety Rich out in the corner here, and we got a special guest. We got a special guest in the building on with us today. We got Mr. Aaron from. Um, don't kill me if I pronounce it. Virul Slots. Virul Slots.
Yeah, same. It's like Virul Slots.
Virul Slots. My bad. Virul Slots. Aaron, how you doing over there? You good?
Good, man. Good. Chilling. Healthy and safe. That's all that matters.
Healthy is good. I see you got the mask, the ninja mask on. I know you want to keep safe from us. You don't want to catch anything. That's cool. But Aaron. So Aaron is our main. Me and Rich, we dabble through the bots like we said in our previous episodes. We worked some some other bot guys, but we settled on Aaron, right? Rich, this is our guy. This is our guy.
Yeah. Like we worked with a lot of guys that run bots before. There's a lot of them out there, as you guys know. But yeah, Sean told me about Aaron, and we've had like a good relationship since then. So Aaron's been helping us out. We've been helping him out in return, and we'll get to how everything works. But yeah, he's been our guy for sure.
Yeah, he's been our guy. So real quick, fun story with Aaron. I actually met Aaron. It was I don't know if you remember Aaron. It was the Yeezy 350 breads. So and then we had a good easy transaction. That was a really quick. I think it was a size 8.5 or something. I got it for another client, but easy transaction. I want to say like a month later, you got into bots, which we'll get into, and you hit me up asking if we want to do bot or slots with you. I'm like, we already have a guy, but I'm willing to give it a shot. And I swear, like the next one after we hit a few pairs, and it was history there. But before we get into all the fun stuff and all the bots and everything, we do this with every guest. We call it the Sneaker Facts. It's a quick questionnaire just for our listeners, our viewers, just to get a little. There's obviously anyone we bring on here is going to be a sneakerhead, so we want to make sure. Again, we're going to ask you this quick questionnaire. Give a little in depth of history of what your sneakers look like. So really quick questionnaire. 3 questions we're going to go through today. It'll be your first Jordan or hype shoe, your current grail, or your top of the line shoe, and last question is what the one shoe you're anticipating on getting, whether it be an older release or a newer release. And that's facts. But let's start off with number 1. What is your first Jordan or your first hype shoe?
Yeah, so I guess the first hype shoe that kind of got me into all of this was way back when we're talking about AM1s rather. So the anniversary pairs. So they had the anniversary red and the anniversary blue. So those kind of got me into my shoe addiction started way before, but this is what really got me into actually like reselling. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Let's move on. Your current grail. What's like your top shoe right now?
My go-tos are usually just, I'm old. I'm an old dude, right? So I just fall back to my New Balances, man. I got some 992s. I got these new Protection Pack 2002 Rs, which are like, I guess it's like all these different materials now. Yeah. So I'm all about comfort at this point. Like I still have my Jordans all in the back, right? But I don't even wear that shit anymore. So it's just more about comfort more than anything else.
More comfort? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
But what would be like your let's switch. What would be like your most expensive shoe right now? Or like you say has the most value right now?
Probably my Sakai Vapor Waffles.
Nice.
I got 6 pairs in the back right there, but yeah, I got a bunch of the grays. just on ice, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And is there any any sneakers that you're anticipating on getting, or like one that you had your eyes on for a while? What's like the next shoe for you?
Yeah, I mean it's weird because one of my favorite shoes is actually the Bread 4s. And I ended up selling those. So I kind of want to get a new pair just to bring it back because I think 4s are probably my favorite Jordans. Not even 1s, but actually 4s. So hopefully I'll be able to get another pair. Yeah.
Okay. I like it, man. I like it. So let's get stuff here. Like I said before, Rich and I, we got into bots. We didn't have a really good history with it or a good experience with it. We understood like there's a lot more time and effort put into it. But I'm gonna let Rich get into it. He has a few questions about like just your startup and everything, and we'll get kicking there with bots.
Yeah. So before I just asked some questions to Aaron. I just wanted to, for the viewers out there, I just want to explain kind of what my take on bots is, and I'll let Aaron kind of, explain what the whole process is about as well. But essentially what bots is, guys, it's it's exactly how it sounds. It's like bots where they can kind of go through the back end of a website and kind of lock in sales. And sort of, if you do have a bot running, sort of like a program on your computer where you can go in there and kind of get the stock before people do, and it runs it a lot like faster than you can go and click yourself and check out and all that. Bots do it automatically, so it takes like 1 second for a bot to check out, as opposed to a real human going in there, clicking checkout, all this stuff. It takes like probably like an average of 1 to 2 minutes at the fastest. So a bot saves you all that time, and you can go in there through the back end and just kind of like have that reserved, I guess, sneakers and try out for yourself as well. But it's not always guaranteed. So I'll let Aaron explain more, because he's the bot guy. I kind of butchered that, I think. But Aaron, do you mind just like explaining to the viewers, like, how bots work and and like what's the whole idea behind like what a bot is and bot users and stuff?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, you nailed it on the head. It's essentially just computer programs that are kind of like automated software that skips the whole human process and like maximizes that to the 9, where you're doing it faster, you're doing it more efficiently. You can hit 20 pairs on a single drop versus one person will just hit 1, right? So essentially it's just an easier way for resellers like you and I to maximize the number of pairs that we're getting, and therefore ultimately maximizing our profits. And I mean,
Nice.
Hopefully, obviously getting a personal pair too if you want.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Definitely better explained than I did. But so like, okay, so now that we have that, what did you like, when did you get into, the bot scene? Like, why did you get into it in the first place?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of weird, because this whole pandemic thing kind of gave us a lot of more time to, focus on other things, not just work, but opens up opportunities to really facilitate diving into other things that, drives you. So I think this whole pandemic is what got me into this. Sure, it was another way to pass the time, but it was also a good way to make extra money, right?
For sure.
It really gave us that way to kind of just, hey, let's try something new, and I'm very fortunate that opportunity arose, right? Because, the pandemic has had some pretty negative effects on others too.
Yeah, for sure. I think, me and Sean got into the whole sneakers reselling thing because of pandemic too, right? It gave us a lot of free time, and we didn't have much to do, right, at home. So a good way to do that is obviously we can try to, like, I guess, make some money and also help people get shoes as well. So win-win situation for everyone. And hopefully we can do it at like a reasonable cost. So it's good. So I guess we all help each other out. So what bot are you currently using for the users out there? Like, what do you recommend? Like, let's say I want to get into bots. What do you recommend, like, me starting off with? I don't want to spend like $1,000 right away. Like, what do you recommend me getting?
So I guess to start your first question, my go-to right now is probably if I'm going for Foot Locker drops, I'm probably using this bot called Wrath. It's probably the most consistent bot that's hitting foot sites, Shopify, Easy Supply. So it's your best, like, they call it an AIO, which is all-in-one bot, right?
Okay.
So that's that. But if you wanted to get into botting, I probably recommend, there's this bot called Nike Shoe Bot. It's like
NSB, right?
NSB, exactly. It's your initial
we got some good history
bot.
On that one.
Yeah. So it's a beginner's
we have
bot.
some history with that one.
It's a much lower entry point compared to others bots, because some of these bots, as Rich mentioned, they're like $1,000 plus, right? So it's a good way to get into it.
There's like Ganesh and something like that, right? Like, there's all these crazy expensive, And just so you guys know, bots, like, for the really good ones, it works exactly like sneakers. So it's not like you can go on a website and buy them. They're so exclusive that, like, they only drop at a certain time, and like you have to, I guess, buy bots. Like it's crazy. Like it's like sneakers. It's like exclusive sneakers. So and usually with these ones, you can only buy from someone else. You buy like a key or something, and they give you a key. So yeah, funny story. Me and Sean actually got NSB for a month, and we tried running a bot ourselves. And we realized how much work it was, and we're like, yeah, like we tried a couple of drops.
We didn't even run it once, bro. We didn't even run it once. As soon as someone told me to get proxies and these servers, I'm like, what? My freaking my brain was frying. I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
You lost me at proxies.
Yeah.
You
so we literally rented it for a month and just did nothing. Yeah.
There's a lot of steps there for sure.
Yeah.
See, this is what people don't know though.
Yeah, like I encourage you guys, please try to get into bots. I dare you. see what your outcome will be. But if you guys do have the time, you know, you're home, and like Aaron said, and like we said, if you have the time, why not, right? See if you can you know, dedicate some time into it. It is a lot. It is time consuming. But that leads on to my next question, Aaron. What is what's your biggest obstacles like as running a bot? Like like is there any fees? Is it time consuming? Like explain all that side of the stuff, like the bad side that no one wants to hear.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest misconception with bots is that you buy a bot, you're automatically going to start hitting. But that could be complete opposite. There's unfortunately so much work that goes into it. You gotta buy proxies, and you gotta buy, as you guys mentioned, servers. You gotta pay for the bots. There's a lot of upfront fees that are associated with botting. You know, right now my monthly fees for botting alone is, for just proxies and certs, is $600 just on proxies a month, right? And that's not including the servers or anything of that sort. So the key piece is making sure that you're hitting enough that you're actually like making money. You're not just putting back it into your setup.
Yeah, that's that relates to like my question as well about, you know, pass, right? Pass is like a term we use. If you guys deal with any you know, bots or people that run bots for you, you'll ask what the pass is. Usually that just means what the price is going to be for them to run a bot for you for a sneaker. So if a sneaker is, you know, $270, pass is, you know, $20. So they're going to hit the shoe and you're going to send them the 20. You're probably looking at a $290 spend. And then however, if you want to resell that to however, then you get your profit. But that's how I guess you guys determine like the pass prices, right? Depending on proxy costs and all that stuff.
Yeah. So depending on, you know, projected resale of shoes, what the stock will look like for the shoes, because ultimately that plays into how much money myself am I going to be putting into the setup, right? So that will increase the pass as my expenses go up.
Nice. Okay, nice. And then, one final question for you in regards to, you know, cooking and stuff like that. Cooking, guys, just so for those that don't know, it's just like a term we use for, you know, if you get a lot of pairs, that means you're cooking. So if you guys don't know the slang or anything, but what was your biggest what was your biggest cook ever, like with a bot? Like how many pairs did you hit? Was it like, explain that. Like what was your biggest one that you were like, holy shit, I can't believe this?
So I think most recently it was the Yeezy slides on Foot Locker US, right? So similar to Canada, we get Yeezy slides sometimes, but not like the US. So I ended up hitting 63 pairs of slides for one of my buyers in the US, right? But then 2 weeks ago, so they have like brick flips, right? So you know those 13s that just dropped? I hit 113 for one of my buyers.
Right? Oh my god!
Yeah, and some of these guys, they just
those Obsidian ones.
Yeah, Obsidian 13s. I hit 113 pairs of those for that guy.
Holy shit!
But like, that was my biggest
still sitting,
cook. Yeah, so they're still sitting. But the thing is, like, a lot of these guys in the U.S., they live in no tax states, so it's just straight profit for them. Yeah, but the biggest one was definitely the slides. So slides is probably my biggest payout for sure.
Bro, regardless for him,
he hit. Have nice margins.
He hit 113 pairs for his buyer. It doesn't matter if they're sitting or not.
Yeah.
He got his pass. So.
No, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. What would you say is like one pair you bought it that like are super hyped, or pair like would it be a Jordan 1 Chicago or like anything up in that like tier?
Yeah, I mean, just I guess thinking back, it's probably the most recent one would have been the UNC ones. So the UNC blue ones.
Nice.
Yeah, so I ended up hitting those are 22 pairs of those ones.
Holy shit.
So yeah, good money on that one for sure.
That's a good cook right there.
Yeah.
Dope, man. That's one interesting you just said. You're obviously dealing with people outside of Canada. How do you create those connections with those guys? Is it through like Discord, through Facebook? Like how do you develop a good relationship with these guys where they actually trust you? Friggin' like files or whatever it may be. Where do you build those connections?
Yeah, so I think social media is our best friend when it comes to the botting world and sneaker Twitter. So I have a pretty strong Twitter following now because of botting. So what I'll do is I'll just post my success on Twitter, and then I'll just tweet. I'll mention the different resources that I would use, but the people would reach out to me and they're like, hey, can you run my profiles? I got like 1,000 profiles, run it up, as Sean would say, right? So
run them,
exactly.
Run them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Run them.
The digital world has like helped us so much.
All caps.
Right? And it's
yeah, true.
Into more like the future of botting. Now we have a better understanding of your startup here. So, and I'm sure where a lot of companies they're protection. I seen it on that stuff where they ask you to solve this puzzle. Like, do you think botting will ever come to an end, or do you these guys, these IT guys are always going to find a solution? Well, where do you see the future in botting?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because right now we're looking at a pretty steep valley in terms of reselling. These sites are developing more bot protection and that sort, but these developers, they're on top of their game, and they do some pretty insane things, and they always are able to kind of adapt. Right. I think the biggest challenge right now is there's a type of botting called sneakers botting, which is like Sneakers Canada and Sneakers US from straight Nike.com. That's probably the most difficult site to bot because we have a multi-billion-dollar company now investing fully into bot protection, right? And Who knows if that was because I don't know if you guys heard that story of that vice president or exec whose son
we did that in one of our episodes. Yeah,
there you go. So who knows? Maybe there's more coverage or exposure on botting, and that's why Nike's putting more resources into stopping botting. But I think there's still always going to be a place for bots, to be honest.
I think my take on it as well. It's like I think secretly, I know like the population, secretly hates bots, right? Like if I'm the normal average Joe trying to get like a shoe and online and I can't because of bots, I think I hate them, right? But then I think the retail sites and stuff like that, they don't like them, but they secretly do because it causes so much traffic and sales, right? And bots are being run for even with shoes that are still sitting and a lot of stock stuff, right? So I think it still drives sales, and it's a good, obviously, revenue generator for a lot of businesses. So I think my end would be like, yeah, they're kind of portraying this scene as like, oh, we don't want bots, I guess, to satisfy the people that are complaining. But then on the other end, they're like, yo, let these bots run because we're selling these out in 1 second, right? Like, that's what I think.
It's interesting you say that because one thing I wanted to mention is like, although I bot right now, like before I got into any of this, I hated botters. I was like, I wanted just personal shoes, but the mentality became, if you can't beat them, you join them, right? So 100%. That's where this whole thing started.
And that goes with everything. That kind of like trickles down to even us as resellers, the guys that don't do bots, and that's where we're at right now. It's like, yeah, we want to prepare, but if we're not even able to get it ourselves, frig, man, we might. In that too, because that was my next question. Really, was just like you guys actually think retailers like give a shit? Like, I honestly don't think they do. They might put it on the news, like Nike, bot protection, FDs resellers, but meanwhile, yeah, if they're able to make that quick flip, why not? It's crazy, and yeah, I think it's crazy. So, Aaron, I'm looking at your background, and you have a lot more stuff than just sneakers. Are you botting other things, or is it just sneaker exclusive? What are other things that you're buying right now?
Yeah, so
Just mainly sneakers.
It's sneakers is what got me into it, but then now when you think about the whole reselling market, you gotta adapt and look at other ways to make money, and then that moved into graphic cards. So buying Amazon, Walmart, buying basketball cards, football cards. You'll see back there's a whole pile of like hats. So those are all just fitteds behind me. So I don't limit myself in terms of what I go for. I think the premise is, as long as I can make money, it doesn't matter what it is, I'll sell it, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. No, that's crazy. I'm not sure. Are you guys, one thing that's kind of blowing up, it's been out for a few years now, and me and my other buddies kind of talk about NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Are people buying those? You guys are familiar with like NFTs and the blow up, and like how people are flipping them? Like they're buying it like 500, flipping it for fucking like 20 grand, 30 grand. Now are you in that industry? Are like people buying NFTs now? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I don't think so. Thankfully, there hasn't been people going too deep into actually developing bots for NFTs, but I know they've been talking about it. That hasn't been something that I've ventured into myself, because I haven't gone too deep into the whole crypto scene, right? It's weird, because you would think that I'd be very okay with going into crypto, but I feel like that's a next level of risk that I don't know if I'm comfortable with taking on. Whereas at least here I have some sort of material good that I know that I'll be able to at least make some sort of money off of, right? So yeah.
Very true. Very true. Good point.
And we actually did an interview with another buddy, and he kind of asked the same question, very similar question, like why we got into it. But yeah, same thing is like Rich and I, we know sneakers now. Like we believe in it, and we know we're able to resell it, but we know there's, with like NFTs, all these stocks, a lot of it's like a lot of question marks on like, do you actually know the value? Do you know where the stock is going? But we know sneakers, we know Jordan 1s are going to move. We're like, you know what I mean? So that's another reason why we got into sneakers. But to finish off here, you answered some really good questions for the listeners here. So for any other resellers, we had a few guys. I think we had a buddy. He actually bought like a bunch of pairs off of us, and he was trying to get into Wrath. I think he has Wrath actually. He has the Wrath, right. But he had a few questions too. But are there any like tips for these guys, people that want to start? What would be like your main tips you got going on here?
Give us like a top 5 or 3 tips or something like that.
Sure. I think first thing when you're thinking about going into botting is understanding what your ultimate goals are. So establishing goals for yourself in terms of financially, then establishing to an actual tracking inventory. I think that's probably number one, is having an actual spreadsheet to track what your expenses are, what your overheads are looking like, how much you're actually making from shoes, and how much you're really selling, one, but also ultimately how much you're actually profiting. What is your actual profit, net income after all is said and done? Because it's just so easy to dump money into all of these bots and into your setup. And if you're not breaking even, then what's the point of doing anything, right? So that's probably the most important piece of going into reselling and botting, is just the finance tracking, the accounting piece. Number 3 is probably just doing a lot of research. Research can be through one, talking to peers, or even joining these cook groups. So I don't know if you guys have covered that concept yet of cook groups, but there's various groups that are on Discord that will put money into monitors. They'll provide you with early links. They'll provide you with keywords and all that stuff so that they can help you maximize your setup in such a way that it's perfect, so that hopefully copying is just easy, right? So yeah,
very good tips. The part about the accounting part of it, very true. I learned that like Sean was had his accounting stuff down from the first day, but I took me a couple months to get to like start writing down my expenses versus my purchases and stuff like that. And like when the money starts coming in, it's very easy for you to lose track of it, right? Like you're just like, I think I made $400 last month, but after it's all said and done, you don't really know, right? So after you have a nice spreadsheet with your expenses, right, your income, and then you have like a net profit and everything for the resellers and your bots and people that are going to run bots as well. It gives you a more clear view of actually how much you're making, and it might be more than you thought, or it might be less than you thought, but it gives you a good sense, and then next month you can be like, okay, I got to work harder, or I got to do this, or I got to do that, right? So always know financially where you are.
And that's dope, man. I think that wraps up today's episode, man. Again, thank you, Aaron, for joining us here today with a lot of good knowledge, a lot of good insight. Hopefully viewers and learners, I learned a lot, Rich. I hope you learned a lot. I'm hoping you guys learned a lot here. And yeah, and as always, anyone new to the channel, if you guys love anything and anything sneakers, you guys at the right place. Make sure you guys smash that like button if you like today's episode, and make sure you guys subscribe here. And we'll throw on all of Aaron's stuff on here if we're on his Twitter with all your social media. Aaron, you want to do a quick social media little close out here? Like what are your platforms on?
I mean, if anyone wants to hit me up in terms of maybe hitting slots for them too, they can follow me on Twitter. The handle is Harry Coppins1, so play on Mary Poppins. But yeah, if you guys want to hit me up, hit me up. So I'm there.
Nice. Perfect. Virul Slots, man. Aaron, aka Aaron, thank you so much for being on the show. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.